Namaste Namastubhyam Vadikamirupni Vidyaraman Karishyami Siddhi Vardhuni Sada Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Namo Namaha. OMG. Not this OMG of today, but Om Ganeshaya Namaha. Thank you for being in attendance today in the memory of Mohanji and Sarojama. Thank you, Habitat, for pulling out all stops and doing everything to make it such a meaningful, memorable, and so seamless a function for us, especially headed by himself, a very culture director. Sunit Tandonji is with us. A big hand for him. The staff of Habitat and Programs Division, Vidyun Singh, Renu Oberoi, Shadab Bhai, and others. Thank you all the participating artists. The idea was to keep it simple, and there were so many of artists and lovers of dance and those who had remembered Mohanji and Saroja Amma said we would like to certainly be part of this homage. So they all came together, and we are very beholden to the whole dance fraternity, the media fraternity, and all others who are there as part of this to be partaking of this prasadam. Thank you also for volunteers who made this possible. Vardhan Tiwari, IGNCA, the staff of IIC, the staff of Habitat, countless friends who have stepped in and said, this is our function, this is our homage. I'm most beholden to all the dignitaries who are present here today, starting with Kamakhya Devi's blessing herself, Dr. Sonal Mansingh, one and only. A big hand for her, please. We have Bharat Muni, the new version, the 2022 version of it, in Professor Bharat Gupta ji himself, Natya Shastra expert, who comes to bless us. Then with Mohanji, we have the icon of conservation, the chairman of Nimrana Group, Aman Nath ji, here with us. किस किस का नाम लाऊं जुबान पे कि सारे तारे नहीं, सारे ज़मीन पे सारे हमारे साथ आज यहाँ हैं. शोभना नारायण जी, भास्वती मिश्रा, we have all Anita Singh ji, Nalini Kamlini sister ji, so many of the dignitaries, and those who have come from as far as Patiala, Dehradun, Hyderabad or Bangalore. I am grateful and beholden. The idea of this evening is to divide it into three parts. You see the academics or historicity. We have lost so many people just in the last 20 years of making and documenting these films. A lot of the luminaries are no more with us. The A to Z, Asta Dehu, Zora Sehgalji, Suguruji, many who were part of this scape. So just recording this gives us an idea about how quickly times have changed. What has also changed is the last 2 years. So we are very happy to see all of you in person and not virtually. A big hand to all the survivors of these age which has befallen us, to all the doctors and all those who have worked to make our lives little safer and more meaningful in the last 2 years faced the pandemic, and to organizations and institutions who have taken this forward selflessly and willingly, and also in the service of arts, because art gives meaning to our existence. Everything else is important. But as Rukmini Devi Attai, my father's guru in Kalakshetra, wrote, Ashish, art is what is so uplifting about this country, so we must serve it in whatever capacity one gets to serve. On this occasion, I would first request all our 5 Panchabhutam, Dr. Sonal Mansingh, Aman Nath ji, Bharat Gupta ji, Sunit Tandonji, to kindly on stage and light the lamp today. Of how mysticism in dance was an important subject to deal with, but more importantly also to deal with a publisher like me. Rani ji, please.
Namaskar everybody. This issue of the attendance was a saga in itself compared to all the previous issues. For once, because COVID was still raging all over, and it was at that point of time that Ashish Khokar ji asked me, mooted the idea of bringing out what he says lovingly as his annual folly. That is the attendance, another edition of it, for 2022. And that was not much of a thing. He asked me, he he asked me to do the editing, which is a part of my job. But the theme he chose for the book was dance and mysticism. Then it was a catch-22 situation, because for most time, whoever know mysticism is an abstract subject and dance a concrete. And where should I find the writers who knew about dance and mysticism and yet could write something about it? It was at this point of time I owe everything to Ashish ji, because he brought in all the writers when I was at a loss after getting a few of them, and finally we tried to complete the book. And what was even worse was that because of COVID, all three of us were sitting in 3 different cities. He was in Bangalore, I was in Hyderabad, and the printer publisher was in Delhi. So we were trying to do a virtual book, which finally concretized as attendance, and it's right before you, it's on the table there. Please pick it up and pick up your copy and make us happy. So for all the effort that we had put into it, and give us your feedback. Thank you.
Another very fine volunteer to kindly bring the baby on the stage and let Bharat Gupta ji release it and give the first copy to Aman Nath ji, and Sonal ji blesses it. Please. Rani ji could also pen a novel which was long in her system. So this is the only copy left, and I'd like her to present this to Sonal ji, because the title is very interesting, Song to Silence. It's about a Carnatic musician, and it will be an honor to present it to Saraswati Upasak and her Kamakhya Devi's own ambassador to all of us here on earth, Sonal ji. Muni, because Natya Shastra is a very difficult subject, very complex and very layered, and to be an authority on that, in addition to be a musicologist, to be a philosopher, to be a thinker, and then to connect to young India is not an easy task, because young India is now into the SMS language. So when you say awesome, it actually means awesome, but it is spelled O-S-U-M. That is not the one. It is a real full spelling. So how do you bridge this gap between tradition and modernity? How do you take this movement forward to age where Google is now becoming guru? How do you take the written word away from only sources which are on the internet? Because after all, content is important. And speaking of content, who better than Professor Bharat Gupta ji, who has blessed this from the very beginning and would like to share his thoughts very briefly on what mysticism as a word, or what Mohan ji's and Saroja ji's contribution to the written word.
श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। एक टीचर के नाते खड़े होकर बोलने की पुरानी आदत है। आज मेरे लिए गर्व का दिन है और बड़ी खुशी का दिन है, क्योंकि मैं श्रद्धांजलि देने आया हूं सरोजा जी को और मोहन जी को। कला के उपासक कई प्रकार के होते हैं और अपने अपने क्षेत्र में, अपने अपने हुनर में वो बड़ी ऊंचाइयां हासिल करते हैं, और उन्हीं के अथक प्रयास से कला एक पीढ़ी से दूसरी पीढ़ी तक पहुंचती है। मोहन जी ने आधुनिक काल में कुछ ऐसा काम किया जो भारत में बहुत कम होता था, और वो सचमुच उसके पायनियर थे। आर्ट कलेक्शन का जो विषय उनका प्रिय विषय था, उसके बारे में जो भी चीज संभव थी, यानी एक कागज का पुर्जा भी था जिस पर कुछ लिखा था संबंधित, तो वो हमने देखा कि वो उसमें कलेक्टेड है। और वो जमाना रहा होगा, ऐसा मैंने पढ़ा है और सुना है, जबकि कैमरे की एक रील, उस जमाने में शायद 10 ही शॉट्स होते थे या 8 शॉट्स होते थे 47 में। तब से फोटोग्राफी करना, उसको इकट्ठा करना, जबकि दूसरा देश में कोई कर ही ना रहा हो, वो एक अद्भुत बात थी। सचमुच इन लोगों को पायनियर कहा जाना है, गलत नहीं है, सही। आज उनकी कलेक्शन इंदिरा गांधी राष्ट्रीय कला केंद्र में है। कहने का साहस कर रहा हूं, सुरक्षित है, संवर्धित है, क्योंकि एक पुत्र के नाते आशीष उस काम को कर रहे हैं। और वास्तव में मुझे ये कहने में संकोच नहीं है कि राष्ट्रीय कला केंद्र उनका आभारी है कि वो ये काम कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि संकलन तो बहुत कुछ कर सकते हैं, बड़ी बड़ी संस्थाएं चीजों को इकट्ठा कर सकती हैं, लेकिन उनको एक इस तरह से रखना और इस तरह से दूसरों के समक्ष रखना कि नए युग के लोग, नई पीढ़ी के लोग आएं और देखें, और जानकारी के साथ रखना, इस मामले में वो अपना पुत्र धर्म भी निभा रहे हैं और हमें भी सिखा रहे हैं कि हमारा फर्ज अपने माता पिता और अपने गुरुओं के प्रति क्या होता है। प्रैक्टिकल डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन है। ये चीज अभी भी भारत में बहुत कम होती है। वास्तव में बहुत सारे कलेक्टर्स हैं देश में, और छोटे छोटे गांवों में भी हैं जिन्होंने अपनी हैसियत के हिसाब से बहुत कुछ कलेक्ट किया है। मैं दिल्ली में भी एक दो ऐसी कलेक्शंस को जानता हूं, जैसे गुड़गांव में केसी आर्यन साहब की कलेक्शन है, अद्भुत है, उस पर स्वयं एक म्यूजियम बन सकता है। मैंने बहुत प्रयास किए, किसी ने सुना नहीं। तो इस तरह के बहुत लोग हैं जिन्होंने कार्य किया है। आज उनके कलेक्शन को देश के समक्ष सही रूप में रखना ये बहुत आवश्यक है, और ऐसे लोगों के नाम पर और अन्य बड़े हमारे कलाकारों और कवियों के नाम पर सड़कों के नाम भी होने चाहिए। इस फील्ड में जो हमारा राजवर्ग है, वह राजवर्ग कह रहा हूं, चाहे वो प्रधान सेवक ही क्यों ना कहलाते हों, लेकिन राजवर्ग है, सबको मानना पड़ेगा। राज उन लोगों ने बाजी मार ली है, और देश और विदेश में 2-4 नाम ही हैं जिनके ऊपर हमारे इंटरनेशनल सेंटर्स के नाम होते हैं। 2 ही 3 नाम हैं, और लगभग वही बार बार नाम आ जाते हैं, हमारे बापू के और नेहरू जी के, और मुश्किल से टैगोर के कहीं। और दिल्ली में भी आपको बहुत ढूंढने पर भवभूति लेन कहीं मिल जाएगी। कालिदास मार्ग तो शायद पता नहीं आनंद पर्वत के आसपास कहीं है, मैंने सुना था। आप किसी यूरोप के शहर में जाइए, आपको महाकवियों के नाम पर, प्रबुद्ध दार्शनिकों के नाम पर एक नहीं अनेक सड़कें मिलेंगी। ग्रीस में हर छोटे शहर में कम से कम 15-20 उनके दार्शनिकों के नाम की सड़क होती है, गांव-गांव में होती है। तो बच्चा बच्चा जानता है कि उनके देश के विचारक, उनके देश के कलाकार कहां हुए। तो जिन लोगों ने सचमुच अपना समय खपाकर इस तरह की धरोहर को रखा है, उनको हमें याद करना चाहिए, क्योंकि सचमुच संस्कृति की पहचान वो लोग देते हैं, उनका काम देता है और कलाकृतियां देती हैं। कला देती है, नारे नहीं देते। चाहे नारे राइट के हों या लेफ्ट के हों या सेंटर के हों, आज के हों कल के हों, लेकिन कला ही है जो कि किसी न किसी प्रकार से काल जयी होती है। वरना तो आप जानते ही हैं, सर्वम यस्य वशादगात स्मृति पथम कालाय तस्मै नमः, कि सब कुछ हम भूल ही जाते हैं, सब कुछ भुला ही देती है प्रकृति, लेकिन कला संस्कृतियों की पहचान बनाती है। धन्यवाद।
आशीष मिला, इससे और हमें सरस्वती की कृपा और संपूर्ण देवी देवताओं का आशीर्वाद हम मानते हैं। May now request somebody actually in front of whom I am totally embarrassed, because if you see his oeuvre, the quality of his books, his authorship, his conservation, the Renaissance man of India, one and only Aman Nath. To think of Nimrana Group, to think of Rashtrapati Bhavan, to think of book on Jaipur, the work in Shekhawati, we remember Francis and Aman. They are two sides of the same coin for us. We respect them for this sincere and dedicated contribution to the cultural conservation of India, and also giving meaningful employment to so many people in wherever the properties of Nimrana are. So a big hand to Aman Nath ji, who is here with us, and he's a man of very few words actually, even if he's written huge pothis, and he's done so much work. So would you honor us?
Eyes and my ears, really. I was not told that I had to say anything, but my work is really for the whole world to see, so I don't think I need to say anything. I just came here to admire, the intangible heritage that, that will pass also. And I'm involved with the tangible, because I believe that we should marry the two together. So we are very fortunate that we've had the privilege of presenting for the last 30 years on every Saturday of the year dancers. That itself is what we can do. Thank you.
मोहन बिरवान के होठ में चिकने पात, और इन्होंने अपनी बात कही दो शब्दों में ही. But he hasn't said that in the corona age, this was the only organization and institution which actually gave employment to artists every Saturday. If they could reach Nimrana from Bangalore or Murshidabad or Patiala or Jaipur or Delhi, so this was a meaningful support to the artists other than IGNCA and many other bodies. But a big hand to Aman. The last 2 years have really been a teaching and learning time for all of us, and I think some part of society that has gone up tremendously in our estimation are the doctors and the nurses and all those paramedical staff who have selflessly and devotedly worked for welfare of society and humanity. We have seen so many examples in India and worldwide, but especially in India where the means are very limited. So anyone who's done work like Dr. K.K. Agarwal, we miss him and remember him, and his right hand is right with us. Dr. Prachi Garg, may I request her to kindly come on stage and receive a special copy from Sonal ji, because it's meeting of science with arts. Dr. Gargi, Prachi ji, is with you. कभी देने भी पड़ते हैं टैक्स, वो अगर कभी वापस भी मिल जाए थोड़े बहुत, तो उसमें the beauty and creative writing of chartered accountants is also very important part of society. May I invite Piyush Agarwal ji, who supported attendance for 25 years and all other follies for the last 30 years, to kindly come and receive a special copy. It's not an account book, it's attendance yearbook. May I now request somebody who is not only an encyclopedia, but her lateral knowledge, her knowledge of mythology, Indian lores, culture, in the wider context, command of many languages, but सबसे बड़ी बात है as a role model. यू सी, अगर उनके दादाजी ने नाम ही गोल्ड रखा, सोना सोनल जी दादा ने रखा, प्यार से कहा, तो इट टेक्स लॉट ऑफ तपस्या एंड त्याग. इट हैज टू पास थ्रू फायर टू शाइन. Today, if we value, respect, love her and adore her and are inspired, her journey is worthy of a read. Please buy her biography, which again needs an update if it is not sold out. But she is here in person with us, so I think she would conclude this session with blessing us, remembering Mohanji you saw her on screen, despite all the traffic sounds around a very busy road. But she is here with us in person, and this recording would again become part of posterity. She is instrumental in saving the collection at IGNCA as a trustee with Dr. Padma Subramaniam, Bharat Gupta ji, Salyu Doshi ji and Prasoon Joshi ji. The one and only Dr. Sonal Mansingh ji.
सबको सादर नमस्कार. और सरोजा मोहनम बहुत सुंदर शीर्षक माता पिता के नाम से आशीष ने रखा है. मुझे लगता है कि निरंतर आशीष पर इनके आशीर्वाद टपक रहे हैं. मोहन जी को 1964 में पहली बार मिलने का अवसर मिला. उसमें शायद मुझे भी ट्रैफिक के लिए मैं आवाज से सुन नहीं पाई मैं क्या कह रही थी. लेकिन यही है कि मोहन जी ने बहुत ही, मेरी माँ ने कहा कि अब मैं इसको छोड़ के जा रही हूँ, दिल्ली में इसका कार्यक्रम है, मैं तो शिमला जा रही हूँ मेरी कॉन्फ्रेंस के लिए. तो सबने कहा कि मोहन जी से मिलवा लो. ही वॉज देन डेप्यूटी सेक्रेटरी डांस इन संगीत नाटक अकेडमी. तो उनका कोई ऐसा विशेष आशीर्वाद नहीं मुझे मिला जब तक 1968 में ICCR की 2.5 महीने की टूर, जिसमें मुझे ओडिसी प्रस्तुत करने का, और पद्मा सुब्रमण्यम जो अपने माता पिता भाई बहन सबके साथ भरतनाट्यम के लिए जा रही थी, और जया विश्वास जो सितार बजाने वाली थी, उनके पिताजी तानपुरे पे थे, और मैं केलू सर, गुरु केलू चरण महापात्र. अब ये हुआ कि ये जानने लायक है कि क्या क्या होता है. जो उड़ीसा से वोकलिस्ट गाने वाले, और वायलिन भुवनेश्वर मिश्रा जी, पंडित भुवनेश्वर मिश्रा, दिल्ली में लगभग 4-5 दिन पहले आए, और दिखाना था, रिहर्सल करना था, एक ऑफिशियल फॉर्मल प्रोग्राम था, हम जाए उससे पहले. वहाँ उड़ीसा से विशेष कुछ हमारी बहनों ने, नृत्यांगना बहनों ने संदेशे भेजने शुरू कर दिए. तो भुवनेश्वर मिश्रा जी वापस लौट गए, और हमारे गायक भी राखाल महंती जी भी आखिरी दम 2 दिन पहले वापस गए. मोहन जी वॉज द वन जिन्होंने भरतनाट्यम की जो गायिका थी, उस वक्त शी वॉज वेरी यंग, राधा, एंड हर हस्बैंड वॉज कृष्णमूर्ति, सो शी वॉज कॉल्ड राधा कृष्णा. राधा को बुलाया, और 2 दिन में मेरे साथ बैठ के, और गुरुजी थे वहां, मंगलाचरण जो माणिक की वीणा मुपलाल अंतिम, जिसको मैंने गुरुजी को दिया था, भरतनाट्यम में मैं करती आई थी, और शंकराभरण पल्लवी और कुरु यदुनंदना, ऐसे जो मेन कुछ थे उसने उठा लिए. और हमारे साथ पूरी टूर 2.5 महीने की, उस वक्त का USSR, आज का रशिया नहीं, और उसके बाद पोलैंड, मंगोलिया, ईस्ट जर्मनी का एकीकरण नहीं हुआ था, और वो सीखती चली गई. So we were able to present so many different items from Guruji's choreography. मोहन जी ने ये, यानी जिसको कहते हैं कि तुरंत इंतजाम करना, तुरंत उनके दिमाग में सब चीजें आ जाती हैं, इसको इसको उसको उसको, because he knew the whole field so well. He was so involved in dance particularly, and of course music and theatre. उन्होंने कई बार ऐसे छोटी छोटी अपन को लगती हैं ऐसी चीजें की कि जिससे कि आज पता चलता है काश ऐसा एक और मोहन होता, लेकिन चलो मोहन का बेटा है। और इनकी माता जी सरोजा जी बहुत प्यारी। एक बार मैंने कहा आपके 4 बेटे हैं, एक मुझे दे दो, तो कहती हैं आशीष को ले जाओ। So, ये वास्तव में इसको मैंने नाम दिया है श्रवण कुमार। आपको याद होगा हमारे पुराणों में श्रवण कुमार की जो कथा है कि जो अपने माता पिता को लेकर पूरी यात्रा, जो अंधे थे, यात्रा उसने करवाई और कितने किस्से उस पर जुड़े हुए हैं। परशुराम भी आए, ये भी आए, वो भी आए। कहने का तात्पर्य ये है कि माता पिता के प्रति श्रद्धा, आदर, प्रेम और सेवा, तो वो जो इसने की है आशीष ने, वो आप देख रहे हैं कितनी फलीभूत हो रही है। यदि आशीष ने मोहन जी का एक पूरा कलेक्शन, पद्मा और हम दोनों ट्रस्टी, we insisted that this has to be taken over by IGNCA और क्यूरेट करेंगे आशीष। यदि ये सब हो पा रहा है, अटेंडेंस इतना सुंदर चल रहा है, यदि आशीष ने इतने मित्र बनाए हैं कि जो आज उनके बिना कहे यहाँ आते हैं, इतनी व्यवस्थाएं हो जाती हैं, ये सब एक ही चीज दर्शाता है कि यू हैव अर्न्ड everyone's respect, confidence and affection. और मेरा यही ईश्वर से, माँ कामाख्या से यही प्रार्थना है कि आशीष आप अपने जैसे कम से कम 1-2 और को तैयार करो। जैसे भरत जी ने कहा, the tradition has to go on and आज भी यदि भारतवर्ष में इतनी यहाँ पे महारथी नृत्यांगनाएं बैठी हैं, बड़ी बड़ी नामांकित नृत्यांगनाएं बैठी हैं और लोग बैठे हैं, और आपने जैसे कहा कोविड में हमारे देखते देखते 2 वर्षों में हमने कितने शीर्षस्थ कलाकारों को खोया। सो देयर इज नो सेइंग कि कौन मैं कब टपक जाऊं, आई डोंट नो। तो आप तैयार कीजिए जिससे कि ये परंपरा आगे बढ़े और भारत के परफॉर्मिंग आर्ट्स का जो इतिहास है उसकी धारा अस्खलित बहती रहे। सो अलॉन्ग विथ ट्रेनिंग परफॉर्मर्स, इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू train side by side those who make notes and who write history, unbiased history. This is very important. I hope Shovana ji agrees. Unbiased history, very important, ना जी। तो मैं आप सबकी ओर से फिर से एक बार आशीष को बहुत बहुत मुबारकबाद देती हूँ, बहुत प्यार देती हूँ, धन्यवाद देती हूँ और सभी के आशीर्वाद, शुभकामनाएं इनके साथ रहें, यही प्रार्थना है। नमस्कार।
Attendance gives awards to 5 categories, and we have specially designed something called attendance award stalls, but we cannot even award, they are so senior. So we would still like to give them this specially designed stole and not a shining shawl you cannot wear the next day. Thank you. So artist Pandit Kailash Sharma ji, who actually set the tone for the evening, may I request him to kindly come on stage. Big hand for one of the finest flautists of the country, Pandit Kailash Sharma ji, and Sonal ji will give him this special honor. Thank you. We will now begin with the dance performance part of the evening. I am so grateful for all your blessings to Ashish and in memory of Mohan ji and Saroja Amma. It was so nice. All of you have turned up here. The house is nearly full, and that is heartening in this post-COVID age. Again, your blessings. May I now request very quickly Shovana Narain ji to kindly come and speak a few words on Mohanam, Khokaram, Sarojam, because the names are interchangeable. Somebody asked me if M.K. Saroja in mother's name was Mohan Khokar Saroja. Her name was actually Madras, Kadurvelu or Kanchipuram Saroja. And somebody said, but ये M.K. Mohan Khokar, मैंने कहा ये पिछले जन्म से ही मिले होंगे. तो इनका ऐसे भगवान ने ऐसा ही बनाया. Shovana ji, kindly come on stage, since you said you would wish to have an early departure for some journey you are undertaking. I know I'm keeping an eye on the track. I have kept 2 alarm clocks here, old-fashioned and my own, so we keep an eye on the watch, and so the program it runs on time. Shovana ji will briefly speak about her memories, and then we will have Kabita Dwivedi perform, then we'll have Meera Das speak, and then we'll have Navtej perform, and then we'll have Sharon Lowen ji speak, and then concluding by Aditi Mangaldas. Please, Shovana ji. The one and only, big hands for Shovana Narain.
I'm not tall, so I'll just take it to the side. Well, at the outset, first of all, namaskar to everyone and to all our respected members over here, and to Ashish and Elisabeth. I would also like to congratulate Ashish for the amazing work that he's done. Agar beta ho to aisa ho. Which I think I'm just echoing the thoughts of some of our speakers earlier. And Mohan ji, I had met him. I was very young at that time. I think it was sometime in the second half of the 60s when I really went to meet him. And my mother had taken me to Sangeet Natak Academy. And met him over there. And he had very intense expression, looked at you, and but the kind of work, he spoke very little, just looked at you, smiled on and off, and as Sonal ji said, there was always the inevitable handkerchief with him, and after that, but much later, one came to know the kind of collection he had. Everything, even a small little note was preserved by him. Now, what the importance of Mohanji's work, a person who starts collecting and who's reading and researching, I think it's valuable. It's really valuable, because today, you know, we are a country where we are full of anecdotes. We are so anecdotal. Anything, we have an anecdote about it. But actually, when it comes down to brass tacks, when you're talking about history and preservation, first of all, he introduced the word preservation as well as documentation. These two were in their nascent phases, and he was the one who really started it. And particularly, this came to fore, you know, if you're doing research, you are looking for what people, as I said, it's so anecdotal, but when you look into certain hard facts of that period, of that particular period, you come to know what exactly is being said and what exactly it was. And sometimes they are merged, but there are many times when there's a total divergence. And therefore, the importance of such preservation and documentation comes to the fore. And it is here that one realizes the immense human work that Mohanji had done. Because here is something that, in case you want to check up something as to what happened in 1950 or what happened and who went there and who, here you've got the paper report. if nobody wants to go into the archives of, say, a Times of India or a Statesman or some great paid newspapers of the time, and is only looking at Mohanji had even kept those newspaper cuttings. So you get to know exactly what was the scenario then and today what is the scenario. So in a way, his preservation and documentation is also giving you the history and the trajectory of dance and art in this country, and of the various artists who have dotted our landscape and who have contributed so much. Of the mood prevailing at that time, and so we come to know what was happening. You also come to know the importance that was given to the written word, and where today we don't have discussion, unfortunately, in the newspapers today, but it is then that you did have, and it is interesting to go through all those discussions in the newspapers and items that were there in the newspapers, because one comes to know even the discussions that took place or the mood of the time. So here was Mohan Khokar and his tremendous work, and I salute that kind of work that Mr. Mohanji did, and he left behind for posterity, because these are the archival documents that we need to see in case somebody wants to really know what was happening at that time. As I said, the anecdotal can be so much that sometimes they merge, but many a times there is a lot of variance. And I found that in my recent research, so that is why I can stress upon it, that there is so much of variance between at times, and at times it merges. But I would also like to also say that as far as Saroja ji is concerned, that her, I have not, I've met her little, I've met Mohanji more, and once again, it's wonderful to see the kind that Ashish ji is continuing the work of his great parents. God bless you, and may many more Ashish's dot the landscape. Thank you. Thank you, Freddy.
Kabita Dwivedi needs no introduction to Delhi or audiences of Odissi dance, and in the pantheon of youngsters who have stuck to the medium, coming from a traditional parampara, her own father and family, Hare Krishna Mehraji, and we have seen her come up in the field in the last many years of Delhi. She has specially dedicated this evening to Meera, saying Saroja Amma reminds her of that, and Mohanji reminds her of Krishna. So I said, let the search continue. Kabita Dwivedi, please.
Namaskar, Jai Jagannath. It's my honor and my privilege to be offering my tribute, my Shraddhanjali to Guruji and Guruma. Actually, my father and Ashish Bhai, I call him Ashish Bhai, his father were very close, and I was a little girl, but throughout my whole life, I have been hearing about the good works done by Guruji. So I dedicate this presentation to both of them, who have enlightened us at every step, at every path. And for me, as Ashish Bhai said, yes, Mohanji is Krishna and Saroja Amma is Meera. And I have taken two poets, mystical poets, as the theme goes. One is Bhima Bhoi, who is a 19th century poet, a tribal poet, a mystical poet, who always believed in surrenderness. And that point was overwhelming in his whole life. And so is Meera, where she sees Krishna everywhere. So Bhima Bhoi presentation is rendered by none other than Akhya Mahanti, a very well-known popular singer of Odisha. And Meera Bai, I will be presenting Jhug Aidi Badariya, music by Suresh Sethi and rhythm by Ramchandra Behra. So I dedicate these two presentations at the feet of Guruji and Guruma. Need your blessings. Thank you.
performance and when did they see me dance? And the person they actually mean often is met and said, आपने अच्छा लिखा लेकिन वो point हमारे लिए अच्छा नहीं था. This is a problem of Navtej and my personality and long hair together. So when Navtej gets, I get a lot of praise thinking I'm Navtej, and they've seen me at the last performance, and so I feel very proud and happy. And Navtej sometimes is at the receiving end of saying that, you know, that review or that assessment or that point you had made. So I present to you, I'm honored that I look like him. His beard is nicer than mine. His hair is longer than mine. But we both have the same genetic code. He is the only Bharatanatyam dancer after Mohan Khokar from Punjab, a practicing Sikh. Navtej Singh Johar needs no introduction to dance lovers of India. He performs very rarely because he is a mystic. And we thought of this theme, mysticism, and I said, Navtej and Aditi and all others, they bring to the stage something which is very deep, very divine and very mystical. We are so happy that from wherever he was, he returned to be in time with us today. He was also here, as you saw, at the launch of the 15th anniversary 7 years ago. So one can always depend on Navtej Singh Johar to put his best foot, mind, body and soul together in the service of dance. The one and only Navtej Singh Johar. Next, please.
Thank you, Ashish. Thank you, Elisabeth, for having invited me today to celebrate Mohanji and Saroja Mami. I know we're running out of time, so I will quickly introduce the piece that I'm going to be performing. It's a padam in Bhairavi Kshetriya Padam, Rama Rama Prana Sakhi. It's a padam in which the hero and both my friend Bala, who's singing, Bala Krishna Raghavan, and I kind of played with the word Tamara Sakshini and played it with it becoming Tamara Sakshuni. So Tamara Sakshini is the lotus-eyed one and Tamara Sakshuni is Krishna. So it is Krishna lamenting, taking Rama's name in vain, saying, Ayyo Rama, how did you bear the pain of separation from your beloved Sita? Did you not shudder at the thought of separation from the Tamara Sakshini? The chirping of the lovebirds, was it not like piercing arrows to your ears? Did the days not pass and turn into nights and weeks while you were lost in thought of your beloved? And finally he says, ever since I have been separated from my love, my heart is in smithereens. So a padam in Raga Bhairavi, a Kshetriya padam. And the voice is going to be Balakrishnan Raghavan, and on lights is Anuj Chopra.
teaches yoga, and he has, over the years, internalized all emotions to come up with this magnificent doctrine. While we set the stage for the last but the most happening Kathak choreographer, dancer, thinker, who has brought live musicians, Aditi Mangaldas, please bear with us 2 minutes while we have, yes, and a big hand for her, please. May I request Sharon Lowen to kindly come and speak a few words, and Meera Dasji. She has come all the way from Odisha, and of course Sharon has been here long enough to know all forms. So she will briefly speak while the musicians just tune up the instrument. Quickly, please, as we are little, I won't say late, but early for the next day. Kindly come and speak briefly so that the musicians in time take this space and tune the instruments. Sharon, Lowen, and then Meera, please.
Thank you, Ashish. It is the greatest tribute to Mohanji and Sarojaji that Ashish has done so much to bring so many arts and artists together, both in performance as well as in the writing. And I think that that is the greatest offering that he's done for them. I remember Mohanji very well in the early 70s when I came to India. I used to quite often actually visit SNA, and I would sit across at his desk. And as Shovana said, he was very intense, and we used to chat quite a bit, quite often about dance. And I remember one time, in his way, his fingers together, he said, I actually enjoy really talking to you. So that was very nice. But the greatest thing was in '78 at an international dance conference in Hawaii at the East-West Center, which was the conference of dance researchers. I gave a performance of Manipuri Abhisarika and Natarajan Mayurbanj Chow. Now, as we all know, Chow was not known at that time. It had been seen in Europe in the 30s, but then the war intervened and it kind of was in hibernation, let's say. So Betty and Clifford Jones, who were great respected scholar exponents of Bharatanatyam, they felt that the Nataraj that I did was total kitschy. It looked exactly like a modern dancer imagining Shiva. And fortunately, Mohan Khokar was there. And he said, no, this is a true, actual style, and she is doing it correctly. And otherwise, I would have had no way to defend myself. So I was very grateful for that. But I really would rather say a few words even more about Saroja. Because Saroja was what we call a dancer's dancer. She was an exponent of what was still known as Sadhu Nritya. It was E. Krishna Iyer himself who had gone to her parents and wanted her to learn dance. And so when she trained, she performed as a child. And of course, she had a very illustrious career in dance all over the world. But when I was able to see her in the 70s, there was such an amazing bhava. And she really represented an artist who was giving us the flavor of the Devidasi tradition. You know, she had the good fortune, and he had the good fortune of touring with Ram Gopal and Mrinalini Sarabhai. They were adults, she was a child, and later Ram Gopal included her in tours in Europe. She really traveled quite a bit. One thing that was very interesting was that even though a number of senior artists like Yamini Krishnamurti, Kira, and Leela Samson, Shanta Raghavam, they would come to her to learn a padam or two. But actually, her students were primarily European, especially French. Although Lucia Maloney was her first student, who was a good friend of mine, and I presented Lucia at the American Embassy School along with Madhavi back in the, I think in the 70s. Yes, in the mid-late 70s. She traveled a lot to Europe. She taught in France. She has wonderful disciples there. And she also had, I made a note of her Indian students, if I can find my bad writing. Of course, she taught Krishan Khanna's daughter, Rasika Khanna, and also Arup Ghosh. Those were very prominent among her Indian disciples. But basically, she said that The reason she had more foreigners was because they're more interested in depth rather than effect, and they were more interested in the bhakti, which was what she was imbued with, the purity of the art, rather than self-promotion. And so she really was a dancer's dancer, and everyone who was privileged to see her perform will always remain touched by the grace of her performance. Thank you.
Meera Dasi, please.
My pranam, one and all here, all legends, all artists and art lovers. I don't want to speak more than 2 lines. I would pay my tribute, my prayers for both the great legends, and we all know their contribution in art field. They will live long for all the artists and art lovers. And all my best regards, my pranam to both the souls. I won't take much time. All are waiting for the show. Thank you very much, Artistry, for giving me this opportunity at least stand on this stage and praying for the great souls. Thank you so very much.
Without much fuss, one of the finest artists of our times, thinker, creator, choreographer. Last performance was here for attendance launch 7 years ago, and Birju Maharaj ji was with us, where Sonal ji is sitting, and he said, ये तो मौला बन गई है, इसकी कला यहाँ पहुँच गई है कि इनमें और मौला में कोई फर्क नहीं है. Aditi, Mangaldas, please. starting 9:30 in Delhi. May I request all of them to give a big hand to such exceptional artists of India. I invite Navtej Johar also on stage, and I invite Kabita Dwivedi, all three of them together who have enhanced this evening tremendously. Navtej Johar ji and Kabita Dwivedi, a standing ovation to all of them. We're so happy.
Srimati M.K.Saroja is regarded as an outstanding artist of Bharatanatyam today. Her performances are acclaimed for adherence to the best of the traditional technique as well as intense devotional fervor. She received the Sangeet Natak Academy Award for her contribution to Bharatanatyam. Srimati M.K.Saroja.
सरोजा भारतनाट्यम नृत्य।
ओम शांति सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यम वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भ करिष्यामि सिद्धि भवतु मे सदा ओम नमो भगवते सरस्वती की संपूर्ण कृपा से हम सब लोग यहाँ एकत्रित हुए हैं to pay our obeisance and homage to SarojaMohanam today. And yesterday, most of you were here to pay homage to Mohan Khokar ji, whose anniversary, 23rd it was. All these art forms are grace of Saraswati Ma. Without the grace, the goodness, the continued benevolence of all our deities, which is why Indian dance forms, especially classical, are for propitiation, not for entertainment. I'm very honored and happy, privileged. It is very fulfilling moment to have all of you lovers of art. Most of you knew both Mohanji and Saroja Amma, hence you're here for SarojaMohanam. I have to thank Habitat Center, India Habitat Center, for its unflinching support every year to this celebration, even if it was virtual in the last 2 years, and thanks to its enlightened patronage under the directorship of Mr. Suneet Tandon, who is with us this evening, and his team and the program section, Vidyun Singh, Renu Oberoi, and Sadab Bhai and others. It has been very, very seamless for us to have hosted here. I also thank all the volunteers of IGNCA, of many institutions, and those who have made this possible. Especially to the artists who are participating full-heartedly. They said, ये सिर्फ आपकी माँ नहीं है, आपके पिताजी नहीं है, ये कला के हमारे पूजनीय हैं. तो बड़े प्यार से, बड़े प्रेम से all of them came and supported and wanted to pay homage. And to get so many of them together on one single day or one single platform or weekend itself is a Herculean task. I am beholden, grateful and humbled. Leela Samson ji today has flown all the way from Canada just yesterday and reached. Despite jet lag, she'll be with us. So has Alarmel Valli ji come all the way from Chennai, and Madhavi Mudgal ji. The three of them had celebrated Saroja Amma in 1995 and all their lives in a big way at IAC, when they presented three masters of that period, Keducharan Mahapatra, Birju Maharaj ji and Saroja Amma, in a very benchmarked seminar and a performance. So the three of them returned to stage now for Saroja Amma, almost 20 years later, in Homage. Before we proceed with the evening, it is traditional, and Amma always said, Deepam, diya jala ke hi koi karya shuru hota hai. Shubh ho, manglam ho, jahan bhi ho, अच्छे मन से, तन से, हर चीज से उनको संपूर्ण मुक्ति मिली, और बड़ी आराम से at 92 she went as she lived with dignity in a sitting position, yogic, just had juice, looked at us, and she was gone. So we were grateful that she had a very, very safe passage. May I now request somebody who is very close to us, devoted. His name itself shows what he is about. Sachchidanand Joshi ji of IGNCA, the head, who came all the way to Madras 5-7 years ago, sought Saroja ji's blessing, as we saw on the film he was saying yesterday, to seek the Mohan Khokar dance collection, which the family then, because of him and other trustees, Dr. Padma Subramaniam, Dr. Sonal Mansingh, Dr. Bharat Gupta, Dr. Saryu Doshi, and Prasoon Joshi ji, they ensured that the Mohan Khokar dance collection, a national treasure, should be with them. And Amma said, आप ही की संपत्ति है, देश की संपत्ति है. A committee had decided it was worth a sum of money, 7 crores. I had asked my father once, he says, what will I do even if I get money? I'll buy a bigger car or a bigger house, which I don't need. So let it be a donation to the nation, which is what the Khokars have done, given the 7 crore worth of collection to the nation, now housed very sincerely at the Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts, under the benevolence guidance of its President Ram Bahadur Rai ji, trustees, and of course the head, Dr. Sachchidanand Joshi ji, whom I now request to kindly come light the lamp with the director of Habitat Center, such gracious host. Please come and light the lamp. And may request the first two artists who paid the Mangalam, the Kriti and the Prarthana, Raghuram ji and Dr. Sridhar, to kindly come. And we need Shakti, so Mrs. Joshi, please, because she is wearing the colors of Amma. Mrs. Madhavi Joshi ji, please come and bless. Thank you. We are honored to have so many dignitaries with us. Soon they'll be on stage with us, and we will also have the benefit of their blessings. Om Namah Shanti. May I request Dr. Joshi to say a few words, because he's not only a head of an institution, but he's also an author, theatre lover, a Sahriday of Kala and Kalakars. IGNCA is lucky to have him in its second term. There are many institutions which are cultural institutions, but to have a cultured head of a cultural institution is rare. Dr. Sachchidanand Joshi ji.
Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namah. My dear friend Shri Ashish Khokar ji, all the distinguished legendary artists, Kala Sadhaks who are here, and art lovers. I am a very small person to say anything about Saroja Amma, and I only had chance to meet her a couple of years back when I went to Chennai, especially to see her. And I can just tell you that, and I was wondering when I was watching her performing a couple of years, 1979, that was the recording when we were seeing. And I was wondering, this is the beauty of human life, that it gives you different feelings of a person at different stages of his or her age. That's the beauty of human life. I think it doesn't happen with anyone. It's only the human beings. We have seen her dancing at some age. We have seen her receiving Sangeet Natak Academy Award at some age. We have seen her receiving the Padma Award at some age, and the age in which I saw her. Different facets of her life. But the basic thing which remained constant was the warmth in her eyes, the zeal, the affection, the mamatva, and the compassion. That constant feeling remained. When I saw her for the first time, she might be 87. Not very fit at that time, but she could, with all enthusiasm and zeal, she could welcome me. She instructed Ashish ji to sort of take me to that collection, which is a remarkable collection. And then she said, "Aap hi ka hai, aap hi ko le jana hai, aap le jaiye." Those were her words, and I could see that she was, during that 2.5 hours, 3 hours of interaction, she was reliving her entire life. I must congratulate Ashish ji for being a son everyone would aspire to have. We have not seen Shravan Kumar, have we? No, we have not seen. We have only heard about Shravan Kumar. But when we want to give any example of Shravan Kumar, we can very well say that now we have seen Ashish Khokar. So that's the kind of devotion. I do not belong to Delhi. I belong to a relatively small place like Bhopal. But some of my friends who were in Delhi tell us stories about Ashish Khokar, what kind of a persona he was when he was in college. He was a cultural icon, he was a youth cultural icon at that time. I think still people who are from Hindu college might be remembering what kind of person Ashish Khokar was. But when I narrated them to Ashish Khokar, he said, "Ashish Khokar, aisa kaise ho gaya? Aisa kaise ho sakta hai?" No, I said, no, मेरे लिए आशीष खोकर is a divine man, a kind of a person who ऐसा लगता है जैसे सीधे कोई व्यक्ति मंदिर से उठ के आया और आपके सामने आकर बैठ गया. But that transformation which Ashish Khokar ji brought to his own personality was because of his deep affection, deep love and sense of devotion towards his parents and the lineage of their parents. तो अपने आप को भुलाकर कोई व्यक्ति किसी चीज को कैसे साकार कर सकता है, इसका बहुत बड़ा उदाहरण आशीष खोकर है. मुझे लगता है एक बार ताली बजाकर हम आशीष खोकर इस दिन का स्वागत करेंगे. आज हम सब सरोजा अम्मा को याद कर रहे हैं. शी इज नॉट विद अस फिजिकली, पर मुझे लगता है कि हमारी जिंदगी में जिसने भी जब कभी भी उनको देखा है, वो उनको हमेशा अपने अंदर उसी तरह से, उसी भाव से, उसी कंपैशन से, उसी प्रेम से अपने अंदर उनको हमेशा तरोताज़ा पाते हैं. एंड दैट इज द ब्यूटी ऑफ अ पर्सन. इससे ज़्यादा कुछ कहने के लिए मेरे से पास नहीं है. बस एक ही बात कहना चाहता हूँ. इंदिरा गांधी नेशनल सेंटर फॉर द आर्ट्स has been blessed to have the collection, Mohan Khokar collection with the IGNCA. And if I could be a smallest of the small instrument in bringing that to IGNCA, that is not because of me, that is the divine power which has brought that collection to IGNCA. Thank you very much.
Your benchmarks in any field. How do you introduce stars who have descended the stellar system? How do you describe their art, artistry, their being, their whole life journey? There are 3 examples today. We may call them by any name. For us, they remain most important aspects of this journey, the progression of classical forms as they have transited from temple to the proscenium stage. And these 3 upasaks, these 3 Devis today with us is our privilege, and the fountainhead of that would sum it up and conclude the one and only Guru Raja Radha Reddy, who will sum up his association with Saroja Amma after the performance of all these 3 Devis who have done a lot for each form. So we begin with the first, Madhavi Mudgal ji. She needs no introduction. I think your claps say it all, that she is somebody whose name spells class, beauty, aesthetics, what is sublime, and how a form has maintained its beauty while partaking of all that is happening in society. In music, born to family which is full of music. His brother, the eminent Pandit Madhavi Mudgal ji is with us also today. In this hall there are so many luminaries and so many rasiks and so many stars that even if I start counting the name, that will be a roll call almost. So I do pranams to all of them. But Madhavi ji has brought to Odissi that innate beauty. When you see all the temple sculptures of Odisha coming to life. And to maintain that over last decades, 4 or 5 decades, and to pass it on to other generation, Patrata, itself a big achievement. May I humbly, gratefully welcome the one and only Madhavi Mudgal ji to kindly take this evening forward with her homage and with her art. Madhavi Mudgal ji. Maybe you have a
Namaskar. I feel deeply honored to be a part of this offering, so lovingly organized by Ashish and Elisabeth, to celebrate the lives of 2 such stalwarts who made a real difference to the world of classical dance and to all of us. Mohanji, as a researcher, scholar, writer, photographer even, administrator, was a personality who mentored a lot of us young dancers of the time. I remember he featured me very early 70s as a Kathak dancer in the youth festival that was organized by the Sangeeta Natak Academy. And from then on, he oversaw the career, my career throughout. And I also remember in 1985 I'd organized the first ever Odissi Dance Festival, which brought together all the gurus, scholars, dancers, even Mahari and the Gotiboas, where Mohanji, because he was a part of the revival of Odissi, made major contribution. About Sarojama, I saw her only the first time at the Sri Ram Center, and I was struck by her dance, the simplicity, the authenticity, the musicality of her dance was absolutely wonderful, which nowadays we see less and less. And later on, when Valli, Leela and I were thinking of organizing a festival to project the essence of each of the tradition, we had Sarojama for Bharatanatyam, Guruji, my Guru Karshan Mahapatra for Odissi, and Pandit Vedra Maharaj for Kathak, and that was such a memorable festival, still etched in my memory. And I'm sure all of those who were present, I begin my homage with an invocation to Lord Nataraja, where a dancer devotee seeks the blessing of the Lord to enable her limbs to dance like the peacock as he sees the gathering clouds, to sway like the lotus as it opens with the rays of the sun, to have the grace, the delicacy of a wave of an ocean as it reaches the shores. This beautiful poem by Dr. Mohan Mansingh has been composed in music by Sri Maheshwar Rao Nataraj.
Na
some of you, if you wish to get a free mask, it has lotus, which goes with SarojaMohanam. It has attendance, which is right here. Attendance also means what you have attended in a given year. The idea was Mohanji's 22 years ago. Yesterday was the 23rd year's edition launched, guested by Rani Kumarji, ace journalist and arts critic who's with us, who's come all the way from Hyderabad via Dehradun. Their copies available outside. Do take one, it supports the arts in a meaningful way. There's so many luminaries here who joined it. Beju Maharaj Gharana ji's principal leading light, Saswati Sen ji is here, big hand for her. We have Pandit Rajendra Gangani ji of Kundalal Gangani Gharana ji here. We have Delhi sisters, Nalini, Kamlini ji, both of them grace the occasion here. We have so many musicians, artists. किस का नाम लाऊं जुबान पे कि सब हैं सारे तारे ज़मीन पर हमारे साथ. Next artist is very difficult to introduce because she is an icon, a star, a senior, a guru, a teacher, choreographer, ex-chairperson of Sangeet Natak Academy, chairman of Film Censor Board, director of Kalakshetra, which she went to as a child to learn. Imagine a Bombay girl taken by her father and parents and left to learn, and with what diligence and persuasive one-point program and mission and a vision towards learning art in totality. Most academic, most sabhya, very quiet, understated, dignified, Leela Samson ji.
Namaskar. My first offering to you is a beautiful, beautiful kriti in the Ragni Lambari, set to Adital, a composition of Purnaya Pillai, addressing Amba. O Mother, you wear an infinite garment of blue, the ocean of bliss. Your lotus petal-like eyes, your lotus feet. King Ambarisha praised you first, who upholds the universe. There is no one equal to you on this earth. O sister of Madhava, will you not listen to my prayer? O protector, my fervent request is that you come to me. Even if you do not respond, I will not leave you even for a second, O Jagadamba. एक मिनट. प्रणाम to all of you. Beautiful people like Mohanji and Sarojama have done this for us, that they brought us together. Just being with Madhavi Valli in that little room at the back is a joy after these many years of aloneness. But also, we like to pay our tribute to a wonderful, wonderful artist. I'll just say this, that the reason I chose this piece, it's an unusual piece for Bharatanatyam, is because I do believe in the few, actually quite a few, times that I met Sarojama, just her and me. She never taught me, I didn't come to learn, but I just loved her spirit, that very powerful feminine spirit. And I do believe she was a very pious lady. She spent her time in prayer, she prayed for everyone, but she was also extremely with herself. She was absolutely a mendicant in many ways. And so I offer this Jagadamba to her because she embodied the feminine spirit that Amba represents. This has been sung and rendered by a wonderful young Carnatic musician, one of the best in his age group, Vignesh Ishwar.
Aditi
Words fail us. Do we call this divine experience? Do we call it beyond art? Do we call it timeless? A big hand for such artistry of Leela. In my journey of 45 years, actually from childhood, from 62 years, but 45 years in this field, 3 friends who have supported me and stood by me from college days. One of them has come all the way from Raipur, is Vishwadeep Shukla ji. I'm very grateful he came all the way, having known the parents. We have Ranjit of India Today, the managing editor, who's also supported our work always. And of course, we have the Printways, who have taken all of these books which we have done in the last 35 years. There are many others who have contributed to this journey. And one of the closest, dearest mother figure, but she's younger to me or same age, is Valli Ma. Valli Ma is an unusual artist because she seeks perfection. And perfection of another dimension, another scale, where it is beyond human ability and possibility. If you give her a brief, she will work at it. Like Swami Vivekananda said, take up an idea, make that your life, think of it, dream of it, live on it. Let the brain, muscles, nerves, every part of the body be full of that idea. Leave all other ideas alone. This is Valli Ma for you. She needs no introduction. I know many of you are waiting for her. They've come from far and near. Alarmel Valli has come all the way and performing after a hiatus of almost 2 years of the pandemic. Leela Samson ji came all the way last night from Canada. Madhavi Mudgal ji has also just returned. So it is their love and affection and devotion for art, Saroja Ma and us. We are beholden. I present to you most humbly Alarmel Valli Ma.
What a joy it is to be back on the stage in Delhi. I would like to thank Ashish ji, who has said such wonderful things about me, but I'd like to thank him because this is a very special occasion for me. His parents are people I admired greatly, both Saroja Ma and Mohan ji. I too danced at that Young Dancers Festival to which Mohan ji invited me. That was one of my first opportunities in Delhi. And as for his mother, if I may say, she has been very, very close to me. I really feel blessed to have been born at a time when I could have seen her dancing and to have known her. So it is truly a great honor to pay homage to two such extraordinary people who have enriched the fabric of Indian dance over so many decades in an immeasurable way. All of us as dancers owe them a great deal. So thank you for inviting me. If I may just say a few words about Sarojama. You know, my mother and I first saw her dancing. I think I was around 20 at the time. And there is a scene which I vividly remember. Yashoda is feeding baby Krishna, and while cajoling him to eat, she points out to the moon. That was such a moving moment, and though so many decades have passed, that scene is vividly etched in my mind and heart. And I've thought about it. Why is it that I remember that so clearly? And I think it was because she was not just depicting a story. She had evoked the very essence of the intimacy and the infinity that Krishna represents. And she did it in a way which transcended all cliched representations. That is why it went so deep and stayed so long. When I think of Sarojama, as I called her, there are some qualities that immediately spring to my mind, to anyone's mind, I think, who met her. One is the truth that shone through every aspect of her dance and her being. The other is her humility. Despite her vast knowledge and experience, she was so amazingly, touchingly simple, unassuming, humble. Then her generosity of spirit. The moment we met her, I felt as though it was palpable. It was as though she embraced you into the warmth of her nature. But above all, I think there could be no doubt for anyone who met her that she was a true seeker, that dance for her was not just performance, that it was a prayer. So thank you. I'm really happy to be here.
we have to also pray for the welfare of all artists, not only those we lost in the pandemic, but including Varlima, who's under remission and recovering. So it is very, very touching that despite ill health, all of them have come and contributed to this memory of SarojaMohanam. I think this is the time where we can only reserve one of the senior most king of Kuchipudi. His name resounds with a majesticity, Lasya and Tandava, as the Raja Radha has represented. Once we felicitate the three artists who just performed, may I request Madhavi Mudgal ji, Leela Samson ji, and Alarmel Valli to kindly come on stage so we can briefly, very, very genuinely offer our salutations to the great artistry they just shared with us. May I request Madhavi ji, Leela ji, and Varlima to kindly come on stage to be felicitated, after which Guru, Raja and Radha Reddy and Kaushalya ji, Radha ji is not here, she had to rush to Hyderabad, but both of them would do summing up of Saroja Amma's life and times. And then what can a society give to artists? They all have Padma awards, they are all much decorated worldwide. Artists needs respect, love, affection of society. If we as Indians don't value our art and artists, what brand are we talking about? And what culture we are talking about worldwide? Which is why the salutations to genuine masters, and the one whom we fondly call King of Kuchipudi, he's never called me Ashish Khokar. He's called me Saroja Son. So I'm very happy and proud that we have him here with us. He's come all the way from America just 2 days ago, jet lagged, but he said, I will be there. The minute Amma passed away, he found it on the net, and so many SMSs he sent, and he said, we are with you. We know how close you were to her. Guruji, the one and only King of Kuchipudi, Rajaji, to kindly come on stage with Kaushalya to wish and bless and sum up the artistry of Saroja.
Thank you very much, Saroja's son. You are really doing a wonderful service to your mommy and your daddy. I know that Saroja Ma, how much she dedicated for our Bharatiya Natya Parampara. She was born to Rajalakshmi and Kadirvelu, and parents encouraged her interest actually. They are the one who forced to dance. She was very much interested only in Natyam. When she was just 6 years old, she started learning from Ram Gopal, the legendary dancer of our country. That she was in Bangalore, she was learning. And she got some offers from the films also. She acted in films as a child artist. Then when she grew, came to Chennai and learned Bharatanatyam properly with the legendary guru Muthu Kumaran Pillai. And for a long time she learned perfect dancer in Kalakshetra. In 1945, I think she got married to Mohan Khokar. Mohan Khokar was the first male student in Kalakshetra. Generally, Sarojamma's father was a textile merchant. These business people, they want their daughters to get married to very rich people, but her interest was dance. And Mohan Khokar was the legendary dancer and the theatre person. He has done a lot of research on dance and music. So she wanted to marry Mohan Khokar, and they were very happy parents. They were married in 1945. After the marriage, I think they shifted to Baroda. Mohan Khokar got the job of head of the dance section in the university.
Om Shanti. Thank you for being in attendance. Copies of attendance are outside. Please partake of it. बहुत आपका आशीर्वाद मिला आशीष को पधारने के लिए आभार. सरोजा मोहनम.